Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bike Homestead. My name is Adam, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of an update on how things are going. And some work that I got to do to fix some problems that we had. So it's been about 2 months since I finished the build in the barn. And I know I made the big statement that, I had thwarted the criminals. And that was true for a bit. And now it's not true anymore. So there's been a few issues, primarily with the gates. The goats have actually learned how to do, I put in some just some slide locks to hold the gates closed, and on one of them, it's a little bit bigger than the other. For the main hen coop, they've learned how to open it. They came in a number of times and it was open, and hens were out all over the place. Like, what is going on? And turns out that they figured out how to open that slide lock. Now the one on the roosters, it's a little bit of a smaller slide lock, and with just the way I've constructed the gate, it's actually held in pretty tight, so it's hard to move it even for me. So that one hasn't been a worry. But I had to put in another hook lock up top to keep the hen gate closed, so that was fun. And then the next thing they do, of course, is they like to lean and rub up on things when they're itchy. And so they've been leaning and rubbing up against the mesh everywhere, which for the walls at least isn't that big of an issue, because they are quite firmly anchored with the deep bedding wood that I'd put in there. So that's not so much an issue, but it is an issue on the gates. So for both the gates, I've had points where they've actually pushed it out, and now they've got to the point where they've gotten their horns actually tangled in it a couple of times. And on the rooster gate, they've actually torn a big, huge hole in it. So I've temporarily patched it, just stapling in some offcuts of plywood, and then they did it again, so I had to put some more plywood on it. So it's just kind of a rough thing, but it's not going to last. So I've got to get something better, because there's this big, huge gaping hole in the middle of that panel. So that's what I'm going to work on today. I have an idea, because, again, the visual aesthetic of everything, I want it to look nice, because it's going to be here for a while. So rather than just slap some plywood in the hole, I want to do something that looks a little nicer and use one of my new tools. So why don't you come along and see what we do. So now, I don't know how well you can see this. You can see how bowed. Yeah, you're the criminal. You're the troublemaker. You, and you. But if you can see just how, it should be coming down straight, but it's going way back. If you can see that angle there on every single panel. And in the gates here, because they don't have the baseboard, it's been getting pushed out. And then back here, this nice gate that I built and looks so nice, I'm so proud of, all of this is broken open. You can see it's barely held on there right now. So that needs to be replaced. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be working on today. And we've also got some plans to kind of keep them from doing it along here too. It's just going to be a matter of putting a 2x4 board across right about, goat shoulder height, just so they can't really lean into it. I've also got to get them a better brush, mount a scrub brush or something there where they can actually scratch up on it. So, because it's a need they have, and it's not been really adequately addressed. So that's something that we'll be doing at some point anyway too. All right, so I got to get some measurements and get cutting on my plan here. some measurements, and what I've done is, I've cut the boards to size, and I've taken my 2x4s and I've just ripped them in half. That makes them a little bit thinner, so it'll be a little bit lighter because it is going on a door, and I think it'll just look nice. So I'm just going to settle down and get mounting those in. And I guess we'll just go to time lapse so that you guys don't have to listen to them the whole time. Alright, so I've got the panel mostly put in. There's a small gap at the bottom that I gotta fill in, but that's kind of inconsequential at this point. Looks alright, I mean, for a quick little fix. Now, of course, when you're doing something like this, with a door that's hung and you're adding more weight to it, the frame for something like this, it's always going to change. So that's why you saw me take the door off and rehang it to get it swinging again. But then, of course, the hole for my slide lock wasn't lined up anymore, and it was all too close, so I just moved it up to where it's going to work a little better, because it's just a tiny little lock right now. I'll probably put in something bigger at some other point so it's a little more centered, but for that, it's high up and it's out of reach of the criminals who are continuing their criminal ways and pushing in this fence more now. So I got to fix that up, and then I got to get a bar on there on the outside to keep them from doing it. So that's what I'm going to have to continue doing. But yeah, so that's my door fix. I think it looks all right. It's not perfect, but it's definitely, still a little bit more eye appeal. I mean, once I get that gap at the bottom filled in, I do have a piece cut for it, so I just gotta, fit it in there and close it up all the way. Then it'll look nice and solid. So yeah, that's this here. So I guess I'll continue on with getting the bars on. I'm probably not going to do that today. I will probably work on that tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Yeah, criminal, what are you doing? Yeah. So yeah, I will continue on with stopping the criminal goat enterprise here, and stop them from destroying all I've built. So yeah, I'll keep working on that. So a couple days after doing the door here, and before I can get the rails put up for the to stop the goats, they put a hole in the fence, and two of those thieves were in the pen with the hens. So I've just been quickly, I've put a patch over the hole down here, and I've just been quickly getting the first set of rails up. I think I'm going to need two, just because they all lean on and get stuck with their horns in the mesh. And the height difference between the three of them is such that I think I'm going to need to have two rails along there just to keep them off the mesh. So I've got the lower one down, so at least, it's it's mostly safe. I should keep the worst of it out of there, but I want to get another one up, maybe about, 6 to 10 inches higher, just so that when they're leaning and rubbing against it, they're only rubbing on the rails. So I'll show you what we've got here, and then I'll finish this up and get that fixed. I'm gonna have to replace some mesh in a couple of places actually because of these criminals. And yeah, so let's take a look. Don't try to look innocent, Duke. Okay. So yeah, we've got Big Dookie here, right? And Daisy, who's not much smaller. And then we've got short little Sally, their mother. So all three of them lean on the mesh. And see if I can pull it open here for you, because I do have it kind of covered over to keep the chickens in. But all of this, all around here, all of that is a big hole. And also over here, they've been trying to get into the roosters too. So I got some mesh I need to fix up to keep chickens in place. So you see I've got one rail here. I just got to put another piece down the far end. And then I want to get another one probably about here. And then, that will, not affect the visibility of the hens from the outside as much. But still, then we're at kind of lower end height and then upper end shoulder height here. To keep them from, you can see where their fur is, where they've been rubbing. And then because they are itchy, I'm going to, I've got an old, we've got a, thank you. We've got an old broom head that we had bought for them way back when that I can just mount directly to the wood here. So they have something to brush up against when they're itchy. So, you three, especially the two on the right, those two were caught red-handed. They are guilty. They were in the hen coop. Are you ashamed of your children? Are those guilty eyes? I can't tell. Sally? Sally loves her scritches, though. So anyway, these goats have made me a lot more work than all these other animals fixing stuff that I had already fixed. So if you had goats like mine, what would you do? Let us know in the comments below. And I will get working on fixing what they've broken. So I haven't even finished putting up all the rails. And these criminals are already trying to break through them. They've been chewing and rubbing their heads on them and trying to figure out a way through. The crime doesn't stop, does it? It's just a way of life with you lot. Daisy. Eating the wood before I put it up, it's not going to help. Daisy. Alright, so the work is done for at least preventing more damage. And everything that I wanted to get put in place is put in place. I still got to fix up the meshes that they've damaged while I've been in the midst of doing this work. but I won't make you watch that today. Anyway, so I'll just give you a walkthrough on what we changed, and I think that'll be about it for today. So again, we started with the door. I still got that gap at the bottom to fix, and then we've just put in rails at a good height to keep the goats from getting to the mesh. And then I just took this old broom and tacked it up here, and once they figure it out, they can rub up against that and get a good brushing all on their lonesome, so they can give up the life of crime. As he now eats the camera and continues his criminal ways. So on this gate, I just continued the rails, same as what would have done on the walls here. So I just continued them over to keep them off that mesh. See, in the midst of all this, I've also been taking out the roosters from the last couple of hatches we did, who are getting old enough. There's one right there still in with the girls, but they've all been moved back to the rooster pen. So there's quite a few boys back there, so they like to fight. We'll be getting rid of some more of those in the near future here. All right, so thanks for spending your time with me today as I fix problems that we didn't really plan on or design, because like I knew. Thank you, boys. We knew that the goats would be rubbing up against the fences and stuff. I didn't think they'd be pushing that hard or causing that much damage. I really didn't think about their horns getting stuck in it, because I'm pretty sure that's how they've been ripping the mesh. As their horns get stuck, they struggle. There's a hole, then all of a sudden they're curious about it, and they're pushing through. So anyway, I think I've got them, sorted, and hopefully they'll start using the brush as a brush rather than something to munch on. They do know how the brushes work. We've had one up for them before. It wasn't this one, but yes, look, they've already pulled out a bunch. There, you see? That's what it's for. Anyway, these three useless goats. That's right. We like our goats. They do. But they do definitely cause trouble. Especially in winter, when they can't get out as much as they want to, right? I do open up the door pretty much daily right now because the temperatures aren't too low. So we have the door open pretty much every afternoon. I've got a path out there with, straw put down so they can walk on it, and they don't. They run out there briefly and then they come back in here. So, anyway, so back to it. The job is done. I think this is actually going to work. And again, you know what? Let us know what you think. Is it going to work? How long do you think it's going to be until they break my fences again? Yeah. So hit us up. Let us know. We love to have the interaction. We love to talk to you guys and get to know what you think. Yeah. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for spending your time with me again. And we will see you next time.